Hello there and welcome back to the Chap's Guide. My name is Ash and it is my honour to be your host on this journey through men's style, self-development and personal grooming. Now, regular viewers may be aware that I started a bit of a limited series on the channel a couple of weeks ago called Am I a Chap?, in which I have invited our viewers to drop me an email, which you will find in the About section on the main YouTube channel, with an image of yourselves and perhaps a bit of a narrative, a bit of a commentary about your style, where you're coming from in your sartorial direction, and then I will, if I may, give you some review of your attire and perhaps offer you a steer in potential directions that you may be able to take which could potentially improve your overall look. It's as simple as that. A quick reminder, gentlemen, this is not expert testimony. I am an ordinary gentleman who is interested in sartorial endeavours. So all you're going to get is my personal subjective view, which will not be brutal or critique in any way, all right? All I intend to do is to give you a simple nudge in a direction I think that you may look a little better. Now, I'm pleased to say many of you gentlemen have taken up this gauntlet and I have received dozens of images with little stories about the many gentlemen out there, like myself, chaps who seek to better the way that they look. And I've got three gentlemen who've sent me some images to review with you today. So let's get started. Let's talk about our three heroes who have written to me today. Now, my first gentleman is a chap called Sam. And Sam, in his accompanying letter, if I want to call it that, email, said that he thought that I would receive many images of gentlemen who are dressed up in their finest. So he thought that he would send me an image of himself in more casual attire. And he certainly has done that. It's a great image, just a singular image, but in that image we can tell a lot about Sam and where he's coming from and the style that he likes to take. So he's given me some accompanying sort of commentary as well, in so much as he tells me that the blazer, cardigan, shirt and ascot all come from Swedish company John Henrik. Now, for those who are unfamiliar, John Henrik, as I say, is a Swedish brand which is relatively young in the sartorial world. It's only been around since 2008, and they are all about affordable luxury, if there is such a term which meets together in the middle. Affordable and luxury, do they really ever become good friends, those two words? But that's what John Henrik's are all about, and I quite like it. If I was to describe its style, perhaps one would be more familiar with say, Charles Tyrwhitt's. Very, very similar angle that they're going from, just slightly Scandinavian angle from John Henrik. So as we can see, Sam here, and I refer to his images, has a look, and I would suggest that it is unique and it is quite special. And yeah, he wears it well with a certain element of poise and bearing. Let's review the look from the ground up. So, although not easily identifiable in the image, the footwear which Sam is wearing here are Oxblood Chelsea boots. The Chelsea boot is a great choice for a gentleman because it's very versatile. You can wear it with jeans, you can wear it with chinos as we see here, and you can wear it, potentially at a pinch with your more formal grey flannel slacks, even a suit if you had to. And in this case, Oxblood is a great colour because those reddy tones allow that shoe to bring some character to the items, the other clothing that you're wearing. So the Chelsea boot, great choice, sir. And yeah, they look good. Good break on the shoe, on the trouser rather, with the boot. It's not too long, not too short. You've got it just right. Then we move up the body and we're looking at the trousers. And here we see a pair of grey chinos. Classic, elegant. I'm actually wearing a pair myself right now. Chinos are great as a casual trouser because obviously they don't require any special ironing. If these were to be, say, a pair of slacks, you do need to put the iron on them and to keep that crease. the thing that I hate to see most in a gentleman is a pair of trousers which require a crease down the front, and that crease isn't maintained. All right, it's lost its sharpness. It's a blunted crease, doesn't look great at all. But the chino allows us to overcome that because it doesn't require that razor sharp crease down the front of the trouser. So chino, great choice with those trousers. With those shoes. Boots, great choice as a casual item. Now moving up the body, this is where it gets a lot more exciting. We can see just the hint of a brown leather belt with those trousers, which is a good fit because he's matched his leather, brown leather, or perhaps even an oxblood leather as it may be, works well with the boots. The last thing we want to see is a black boot and a brown belt. It's incongruous, they don't look good together. Match your leathers, gentlemen, if you possibly can. Now, looking at the upper body, we see, let's start at the skin level. We can see a shirt, and it's a floral shirt or a pattern shirt, which is striking. It's got a blue pattern over a white shirt. It is what it is. These are becoming more common. You see them in the catalogues of Charles Tyrwhitt and other, mass marketing companies as well, Curtis and Hawes, companies like that. Layered above that shirt, we see a cardigan. Appears to be a knitted cardigan. Blue in colour. I wouldn't go as far as to say quite navy, but it certainly is a good match to the trousers, the chinos. We just catch the hint of it, one button in a V-neck, and that is layered again underneath what is a quite striking, what appears to be a knitted purple blazer. Notched lapel. This is unusual. I don't think I have seen a blazer of that nature on anybody before. Looking good. It's certainly characterful, and you wear it well, and overall as an ensemble, with and I should say at the collar as well, at the throat is worn what appears to be a sort of burgundy coloured ascot or cravat, as we would call it here in Europe generally. There's a lot going on, and on top of one's head we see a felt, is it fedora, I would suggest, a very fine hat indeed. Overall, a striking look of lots of sartorial elements going on there. So what do I think of it all? Well, what do I think of it indeed? I think it's an interesting look. It suggests an element of eccentricity for a number of reasons. The floral shirt brings a lot to it. The purple blazer, again, a very interesting choice. Not something you see every day. Don't believe I've seen it before. And the hat, unusual today to see a gentleman wearing a dress hat. And judging from the background to you there, sir, I can see other hats hanging on display, not least what appears to be a beige coloured bowler hat and some other form of fedora. So you're clearly a gentleman who loves your hats, suggesting a gentleman who pays an interest in his attire. So what are my suggestions? I'm not going to critique, it's not about being critical, it's about suggesting other alternatives. I like the look personally, but there's a hint of eccentricity. And I say that because of the melding of colours and the layering of clothing. So what do I think? Well, what would I do differently? That's probably the best way to say it. I love the knitted blazer. I am wearing a knitted blazer myself, and these are becoming increasingly fashionable. This is a navy merino knitted blazer, actually with notched lapels by Charles Tyrwhitt from their current catalogue. Recently purchased this one, and I think it works well. It allows you to occupy, in a casual time of your life, an element of formality, and you could at a pinch wear this in the place of a blazer if the situation was informal enough. So, say a backyard barbecue, going to a friend's house for dinner, something of that nature. It allows you to wear a tie if necessary, but because it's knitted in a less formal material, it allows you to get away with it, and I would suggest that's what you've done quite well there. The layering with the cardigan, if it's a cold day, perfect, works well. What I would alter is the shirt, all right? So I think there's a lot going on to the eye here. And the thing which draws my eye is the shirt more than anything else. Even though that purple blazer is a strong colour, it's a bold, there's texture going on there, which you don't ordinarily see. The thing that even beyond that is drawing my eye is that floral shirt. There's a lot there. There's that purple outer garment, there's the knitted cardigan underneath, and the floral shirt, and the ascot at the neck. For me, it's too busy. The way I would tone this down is simply to change that floral shirt simply for a white shirt or a light blue shirt, which I think would work perfectly. It would tone the look down, and it would allow you then to draw attention to what should be the most striking garment in your ensemble of clothing, and that's that purple knitted blazer. But that shirt is drawing the eye away from the blazer. The other thing I would suggest when we're talking about the shirt, if we look at the gentleman's cuff, we see, I would suggest probably about an inch or so of cuff, which is showing beyond the extent of the sleeve. I would normally suggest to people that a quarter to half of an inch of cuff displayed beyond the sleeve is all we should go to. You know, when you shoot your cuffs, you pull the cuff down, so you've got that nice delineation of the colours there. I would suggest that's just a touch too long. So either your shirt sleeve is a little too long, or the sleeve of your blazer is too short. When we look at the other sleeve, which is just visible, I would say that's perfect. So watch the length of those cuffs. And the other thing I would suggest is an alteration is the ascot or the cravat. You've got a colour there, burgundy, which for me is in conflict with the purple. They are fighting each other, particularly when we have that patterned shirt underneath as well. So my suggestion would be to change that shirt to a white shirt, and then change that cravat to perhaps a floral cravat. So if we reversed the cravat and the shirt there, and we had a light coloured shirt on with a floral cravat, I think it would work perfectly. It would draw the eye just enough. It wouldn't dominate, as at the moment I believe your shirt is dominating the other items around it. So there we go, sir. As I say, a very unique look, a very striking look. I love the individual elements. I think you might have slightly overcooked it by putting too much there all in one place. The simple alteration of a white shirt instead of the floral pattern shirt, I think would nail the look shut for me, sir. You've clearly done it well. Thank you, Sam, for sending your image on. I think you're doing well, and I hope the review has been helpful for you. Okay, now our second review is of a gentleman called Jazz, who clearly has a great sense of humour, because he sent me a singular image, and in it he's not wearing a great deal of clothing. Not much for me to review his style on, but we will give it a try. We're here to try and improve, gentlemen. And as you can see, Jazz is wearing merely a hat and an apron. You might think, what can I say about that? Well, I'm going to tell you, I've got some notes here. What he does tell us is that he is 65 years of age, and this is not normally how he eats biscuits. Okay, fair enough. What can we see? Well, not a lot. We can see that Jazz is wearing a trilby. He is wearing spectacles, he's wearing an apron, true, and he has some sort of neck adornment around the neck area. There is not much for me to offer in terms of a critique of what he's currently wearing. So what can I say? What can I say indeed? Well, for a start, let's go through it. He's wearing a hat, he's wearing a trilby. This is something not commonly done in the modern era. Very few men wear a dress hat, and I think it's a shame, because it allows a man to bring style and panache to his clothing. So at least Jazz is breaking that duck, and he's doing rather well. The apron itself is not any old apron, is it? It is a Buckingham Palace apron. So he's obviously been to the Buckingham Palace gift shop at some point, and it's a good quality apron. So yes, he's a man who has style. When he wears just the merest of clothing, the clothing that he wears draws the eye and tells the people that he meets something about him. A Buckingham Palace apron tells the people you meet that no apron is good enough other than that which is worn in the royal household. So I like that. There's some element of his character there. What else can we tell about Sam? Well, I'm going to look beyond the image here, and I'm going to, or the image of him, and look at his surroundings, because this often tells us something about people. As a former detective, you know, your mind is trained to look beyond the obvious. We can tell that Jazz is a man, assuming this is his own kitchen, of course. If you look behind him, you'll see his saucepans are stacked and clean and ready for use. Next to them, there are mugs lined up, ready for use. So he's an urbane gentleman, a man who knows how to take care of the details and can look after himself. We can also see to the left-hand side, somewhat disappointingly, that he's a custom of ready sliced bread. Not great, you know, you're obviously hitting the carbs there, sir, but it is fair to say you're in great shape for a 65-year-old gentleman. So that is an important factor when it comes to looking good and wearing your clothes with style, because if you've got the shape of body, certain clothing is always going to be complementary to you. And as a 65-year-old man, you're in good shape. I know whatever you wear is going to flatter you because you've got that body structure on which to place clothing. So what could I suggest? What could we do? Well, with your good physique, of course, whatever you wear is going to favour you, so perhaps a suit will make you look a little better. If we restrict ourselves to what we can see though, what would I suggest? Well, for a start, maybe a wristwatch might be a useful addition to your minimalist look. Maybe a stainless steel watch, maybe a watch with a coloured dial of some kind, because that again would bring a pop of colour to your minimalist outfit as you are today, and it would certainly bring something to the eye. Instead of the trilby, you could try something a little more outlandish perhaps. If you're going to be at home anyway, think about wearing a fez. Comfortable hat for the house if you like to keep the head covered at home. Or if you want to go full eccentric, why not go for a bowler or something with some unique touches and accents which are really going to play to your strengths, for clearly what you have is a great character and a great sense of humour. But no, all in all, sir, thank you for sending your image in. I'm sorry I can't give you a great deal of steer here because you haven't given me a great amount to work with. But looking good. I hope you found my suggestions to be of some use, and by all means send me some more images, perhaps when you're clad in a little more clothing and I can be a little bit more constructive. But thanks for writing in, and it's great to hear from you, Jazz. Okay, now my third and final review of this Am I a Chap video comes from Barry. And Barry has written to me, sent me a number of images, which was really helpful, which, you know, seeing from top to toe really allows me to get a better picture of the individual. And he sent me some commentary about his style and what it's all about for him. And what Barry tells me, he's a British gentleman, so he's from Windsor in the UK, home of the royal family these days, where the Queen resides in Windsor Castle. And as a young person, he played in the grounds of Windsor Castle, and he grew up watching the guards of the royal household, and he visited local army barracks, listened to their brass bands rehearsing from his bedroom window, and their clean-cut look was a great influence upon Barry. He's always loved smart outfits, with a preference towards 50s movies attire. He likes tailoring stories, quality craftsmanship and that sort of thing. Enjoys dressing smart in a suit, shirt and tie, and always strives to be the best dressed man in any room. What a great mindset to have, Barry. That's pretty much how I approach life as well. You know, if I enter a room and I look around and I look at the people in the room and I realise that nobody matches my level of sartorial attention to detail and attire, it fills me with confidence, and I know whatever I do after that initial meeting, you know, a good impression has been set, at least by me, and my confidence is elevated. Now, from Barry's images, I can see that he is a gentleman who favours the traditional look. You know, a collar and tie and very classic garmentry. Looks like you like good shoes. I can see that you're wearing different types of shoes, you know, from a double monk strap to an Oxford, a toe cap, all different types of shoes. Shoes are so important. They really set the tone of anybody's outfit. So just to help get through this review, I'm going to select an image which I think bears the best fruit to offer some suggestions. Let's look at the way that Barry is dressed in this image. First of all, let's start from the ground up. The footwear that he's wearing. Now, I can see from this image that Barry is wearing an Oxford toe cap shoe, but it's not any old Oxford toe cap, is it? It is a shoe which is brown, but it appears that the toe cap is in a darker brown, a mahogany brown, and the vamp of the shoe is a much lighter brown, a tan brown. Going towards the hindquarters, then it goes back to that mahogany colour. It makes the shoe instantly grab your attention. This is something that you can do with your shoes to make people pay attention to you. You can do that by wearing a striking signature shoe like Barry has chosen here, or if you've got a rather more ordinary shoe, get a hell of a shine on it. You know, bring that toe cap up to a mirror shine, and it will demand the attention of the people that you meet. They may not say anything to you, but they have noticed it. It's registered on them. They know the sort of guy that you are. And in this case, these are beautiful shoes. I know not what they are, but they really draw the eye immediately. Now, looking up the body, we can just see the hint of a sock at the ankle. The break of the trouser seems fine, falling as it does roughly halfway along the lacing, which is where I always aim to get the break of my trousers against my shoes. Hard to tell exactly what the trousers are. They appear to be a chino or jean type trouser. Certainly they don't have a crease. So that reduces the formality with having no crease down the front, but that's fine. As we look up the body, a light blue shirt is worn with a navy blue tie at the neck, got a broad spread to the collar of the shirt, but it appears to be, I think you've got either a full Windsor knot there on the tie, looking good. Worn with what appears to be a sport coat or a blazer. Hard to tell. What's the difference between a sport coat and a blazer? Traditionally, the blazer will have contrasting coloured buttons to a sports jacket. So normally you might see a blazer with, say, brass buttons or lighter coloured buttons, so they stand out against the blazer. With a sports coat, they tend to, you know, be the same colour as the rest of the garment. So there we are. At the pocket, we see an orange pocket square, and we can see that the shirt has a French cuff, so, you know, secured with a cuff link. On top of the accessory, which appears to be some sort of comedic lion, looks to be some sort of straw or woven trilby. All of the bones that we need for a fantastic look. And I think for what it is, Barry has nailed this look. It looks rather splendid, but could it be improved? And I'm going to say yes, I think, with a few little alterations. Let's start at those shoes. I can't make any suggestion to improve those. I love them. I think they look great. However, just above the shoe, you've given us the hint of your socks. And they appear to be, I don't know, is it a light blue or a grey? But certainly a strong contrast between the shoe and the trouser. For me, when I wear socks with shoes, if there's a hint of a sock going to be seen, I do one of two things. I either match the colour of my socks to the colour of my shoes, or the colour of my trousers, so that the contrast doesn't automatically grab the eye. Now, I know lots of people like to wear signature socks, you know, which are bright red or bright yellow. That's fine in the right situation, in the right circumstances. But casual day-to-day, as Barry seems to be here, I would suggest that perhaps either a black sock or a dark grey sock, which would match the trousers, would be the perfect solution. Because my eye is being drawn to the gap between his shoe and trouser by that light-coloured sock. Perhaps you don't want to attract my attention in that way. Moving up, the trousers, yep, they're fine. I mean, personally, I might have chosen a khaki trouser if it was summertime. You know, if I'm suggesting it may be for you here because you're outdoors, it looks nice weather, and you've got a woven trilby, which for me would suggest this is a summer environment. So I would have gone for a khaki trouser perhaps, which might have offered more contrast with the upper and the lower half of the body, but grey is fine. What I would say about the trousers is I can see that your trousers are fitted with belt loops, which are clearly visible, yet you're not wearing a belt. This draws my eye. I can tell immediately when I look at you now there's a deficiency. I can see something is missing, and for me it's a belt. So if you have trousers with belt loops, in other words, you know, you don't have tabs on the side to cinch up to keep the trousers a close fit, if you have loops on your trousers, always wear a belt, all right? It's the natural thing to do, and in this case, you would match the leather belt to the leather colour of your shoes, and for you, you've got a great choice here, because you've got either a dark brown or a light brown. It's going to work for you. So for me, the addition of a belt would really have helped. Looking up the body, I like the jacket, can't find any fault with that. The shirt, equally. The tie is great. You've gone for a navy blue tie, and I like the tie knot. You've got the blades of your tie matching perfectly, and right where it should be, stopping at the waistband of your trousers. Doesn't matter if the rearmost blade is a little longer than the front. I think you've got a great tie knot and your tie looks good. What I would do personally, I am seeing a lot of monochrome colour here. It's all rather dark and a lot of blue and grey going on. What I would have done there, just quite simply, is worn a tie with a greater contrast. You've worn a pocket square with a hint of orange, perhaps an orange tie or a reddy coloured tie would have worked rather well. Right now, I'm displaying this example myself. If I wore a navy coloured tie with this navy coloured blazer, it would look rather plain, rather simplistic. By wearing, as I am, a coral coloured tie, it draws the eye, it makes the tie the signature piece of the items that I'm wearing. It's going to demand your attention. And I would suggest that perhaps for me, to improve your look there, sir, you might have considered a tie with more contrast. Now I know you do that because I can see from your other images that you do wear a red tie with a grey, predominantly grey or charcoal grey suit or jacket. I think it would have really helped your look there. I would suggest that red tie that you've seen in the other images would have been would have rung the bell just right. The hat that you're wearing or would be wearing, I think, is a great match with the items that you're wearing. The only other thing I would suggest, and this is purely subjective, is perhaps your spectacles. All right, we're entering a time now where every item of your accessories are scrutinized, and there's an opportunity to be quite individual in your style. And I think that perhaps the spectacles you're wearing, you could fundamentally change your look and make yourself look a little more edgy, a little more sartorial, would be some of these more modern, thicker rimmed spectacles. I'll give you an example. I was in Jermyn Street just the other day in London, and I came across a spectacle manufacturer called Cubits. Now, I bumped into one of their other shops in Cambridge last summertime. I was taken by the very strong nature of their frames. They make sunglasses if you don't need prescription glasses, but they also make prescription glasses. Their frames are quite traditional, tortoise shell, dark in colour, but they're striking. And I think perhaps if you considered maybe trying a pair of thicker rimmed glasses in this modern era, it would really add a lot to your look. Cubits, I'm not a customer of theirs, I've never bought anything, I just like their look. Those spectacles, despite being very edgy, very trendy, I think, they're also very modestly priced, about £125. So, my next pair of glasses, I'm going to go to Cubits because I really like their look. Have a look at their website, see what you think. So there we go, we've come to the end of today's Am I a Chap? We pose that question, am I a chap, to these three people? And I have to say, you all are, in your own way. So Sam, Jazz and Barry, thank you so much for writing in. I've loved scrutinising your look, offering some suggestions. I hope you take it in absolutely good humour and the way that in which it's intended. And that's some suggestions, no more than my personal observations. I think you've all done very well in the way that you look, in your own individual ways, of course. And it's been a pleasure to see you all. I hope you've enjoyed today's video. If you have, of course, you would do us great favour if you gave us a thumbs up. Don't forget, if you want to come on the journey with us, click the red button, subscribe, and you can practically support the channel if you wish by buying me a coffee. If you go to the description box below, you will find a link to our Buy Me a Coffee page, and you can help us on our journey. So until the next time, when I will pose the question, are you a chap, to three new gentlemen, take care of yourselves, stay sharp, look good, and I will see you again very soon.